Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Bob Power, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you've joined us for our next live presentation from Silver Tiger Metals. Please note, you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Glenn Jessam, Chief Executive Officer of Silver Tiger Metals, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol SLVTF and on the TSXV under the symbol SLVR. Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you, Bob. It's always a pleasure to come and talk to your guests about Silver Tiger. Look, it's a little different today. I'm always here talking about our silver project, which we're going to make a decision on, a build decision on in Mexico. We'll talk about that. But boy, when I saw battery metals at the head of this title, I said, let's talk about why I think silver is industrial, a battery metal, strategic, and an investment tool. Lots of stuff to unbolt there. I get to talk to you about the market today. Usually it's just about the mine we're going to build. But let's just jump right in and talk. For those that haven't really seen it, quick update on El Tigre, the Tiger, our mine in Mexico. I think what, the first thing to talk about is where we are. We're in Mexico. We've been there 30 years. A long track record out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. We've built 3 large mines in that period of time, and we've sold 3 more to majors. Track record and experience is something you better want whoever you're investing with to have, because that's how you get the next one built. And we're getting close on that. I'm going to talk just a little bit of an update about the company, and we're going to have a look at what it is first before I get to that, if the slide will change for me. We're, as I said, in Sonora. I bought a public company back in kind of a downtime in the market in 2017. We got to work on this asset. You can see it there. It's a beautiful project. It's big. It's 30,000 hectares inside the box, 25 kilometers of the Sierra Madre trend, prolific silver projects all along that trend. All kinds of great stuff. We own it outright. The claims, I bought the middle 6,000 or 7,000 hectares of the land where all of our work's been done. Our work's been done all around that old El Tigre mine, big American mine. It's brownfields exploration, not greenfields. 1908 to 1930, the American owner took 100 million silver equivalent ounces out of this old mine at over 2 kilos, almost 2.5 kilos. And we've had great success in our careers there. All exploration really in Mexico, the vast majority is find a deposit under and around an old Spanish or American mine. It's what this has been. And it's gone really well. We got it in 17, as I said. And really what's been exciting about that for us is the fact that we've been able and so successful in a tough market. Don't get me wrong, this is a tough market. Everybody knows that. It's been tough for the last 7 or 8 years in the silver space. But boy, when I tell you what's coming and what we're going to do, I think you're going to see how it's all going to match up. Market and a new silver producing asset that's going to come online, El Tigre. You need money. You need a lot of money to do these projects. And I want to talk about that first. Since we've had this in 17, I've raised well over $100 million for this. Canadian is what I'm talking here, okay? And a vast majority of that we raised from institutions like this. Franklin Templeton owns almost 10% of the company. Sprott Asset Management, Merck Investments, VanEck, McKenzie, Fort Sale, Ixios. These are the biggest and most well-known institutions that invest in projects like ours in the world. And they gave us we've raised $75 million in the last 3 years. The vast majority from those institutions I've circled to give us the fuel to get where we are now. Have about 15 million of that left in the bank to finish off the job between now and what we're going to do by the end of the year, with lots left over. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think it's important to look at analyst coverage for a junior. Not many have it. But because we have those institutional shareholders I told you about, they gave us, that large amount of money to do this project, move this project. We're covered by Sprott, Desjardins, Echelon, Stifel. PI were involved in our last bought deal financing we did last February for $18 million. Actually, that was led by the biggest of the big, BMO Capital Markets, out of Toronto and New York. They led that last financing a year ago. We still have most of that money left. We spent it well, and we can keep going. And look, it's a tough market, but I'm going to show you why. Keep the faith, especially if you like silver. And let's go talk about what we've done. We're very proud of the last 2 years. A lot of companies, because it's hard to get investment, not for us, the project speaks for itself. We've been able to drive forward when a lot of our peers, money's been harder to get, and maybe some have to slow down. We're going faster because when this market turns, you want to be ready. And the key to being ready is to do all kinds of work, even in the downtimes, because there will be up and down times. So look, in 2023, could not be more proud of our team. We basically did that bought deal financing to top up Treasury, $18 million. BMO Capital Markets led it. All those institutions gave it to us. I circled on that screen. We delivered an MRE, mineral resource estimate, in September of 23 after hundreds of thousands of meters of drilling to get to that point, all the engineering work, all the work that needs to be done, and almost 175 million silver equivalent ounces we delivered. I don't have time to get into the details of that. You can go look at the same Verify slide deck on our website and delve into it and see what the grade, etc. was. But 175 million silver equivalent ounces delivered in that MRE. That's just a piece of paper, because the way we're going to make Silver Tiger extremely valuable is to take that piece of paper that says you got those ounces. How do I get them out of the ground? There's a process. First thing we had to do was we had to deliver our PEA. That's your preliminary economic assessment. That says, okay, there's the ounces, and now we have to do a test. Engineering, costing, metallurgy, all kinds of things. We delivered that test, in November of this year, which was an incredible achievement for the company. That was 23. I'm sorry. 300 million NAV just in the beginning. We're going to grow into the underground, other things, but 300 million USD NAV, 56% IRR. This is a low capex project to get us in production, only $59 million. And over the life of that first life of the open pit portion of the deposit, because the undergrounds, think of the open pit, what I'm talking about here, as being one inning. The other 8 innings are going to be the underground. That thing will generate free cash flow on the base of our PEA we put out of about 450 million USD free cash flow over after tax over the first 10 years of mine life. Very, very profitable. I like to talk about something here. And I was at VRIC. I was presenting there. I was on the silver panel last week, and I gave another talk. And an old New York banker came up to me, and he said, "Glenn, you don't talk about the most important thing with your project." He said, your presentation was excellent. You got one of the best projects I've seen in a long time because," and he gave me a calculation to use. I'm going to give you that calculation. He said, take your NAV, 287 million, and divide that by your CapEx plus your sustaining capital. For us, that's 3.2, 3.3. He said a project of 1-to-1 is, I'm 3.3 to 1, is, why would you do that? 2-to-1 is an excellent project. When you get over 3, oh boy, what a profitable project. And that's where we are, and that's what we like to build as profitable mines. Keeping moving. That was 23. You don't get any more points for what you did last year. Let's talk about this year, 2024. Money in the bank to do it. We're basically going to drive forward to the summer where we can make a build decision on the first part of this project will be the open pit. And then once that's up and running, we transition to the underground. First thing we're going to do is drill that, do more drilling, because now we're going to deliver in June the PFS, the preliminary feasibility study. And basically what that's going to give to us is the document we can build on. And we'll have that ready by June. It's just a higher test. more work done, more metallurgy, move inferred ounces to indicated, drill out measured ounces, all kinds of things I don't have time to get into today, but we'll have that done, the PFS, by June of 2024. There'll be another MRE, which will be a resource estimate. We think that amount of ore we're going to have in that first step, the open pit, will be better. Stay tuned for that when we start putting some results out. We're doing that work now. And that will be the document that, boom, we can make a decision to build that first part. But we can't forget about the other part. I'm going to show you a little cartoon so you understand what the Tiger is going to really be. The next thing we're going to do is going to be that delivered by September. We have 2 shows we go to, Beaver Creek and the Denver Gold Show. I'm going to try to have the PEA, the preliminary economic assessment for the underground deposit. Because about that 175 million silver equivalent ounces, half is at surface. The other half so far is underground. I'm going to show you a little cartoon before we start talking about why I'm so excited about where we are in the last 7 or 8 years of work to get here, because we think we're just in time for what we see going to happen in the silver market. And I want to get into that because this is a battery metals / strategic metal conference. And I've had lots of time with most of the folks that are listening on the asset. And you can look, go to my website. I do interviews all the time. I did 2 in Vancouver, 3 last week. I was on a panel. You can always get updates by going to our website and going to the video section and more deep dives. I can take an hour on some of them, the technical. Don't have that time today. Let's just hit the high points. So 23, I told you what we're going to do in 24. Let's talk in September or October. Let's see if, as we said in 23, we deliver. We did. Do we do it in 24? We think we will. Now, I want to show you something. Cartoon. I'm not going to get into models. I'd have no time to get into all of these different things about what El Tigre is. But I'm going to show you in a nutshell, in 6 or 7 years, what we've determined it is. Number 1, you've got a beautiful deposit. That's the open pit at surface. That's that 75 million ounces. We're going to take that out, and that's how we're going to get all that metal out. That's called open pit mining at surface. First. Second thing is you go underground and get that high grade to great depth silver vein. 75% silver, 25% gold, 1, 2, 3 meters, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20. We've drilled as high as 86 kilograms per ton silver. You go down and you go get that. That's your underground mine. We had 2 nice surprises. Go look at some of my presentations. About 2.5 years ago, we discovered not just that unlimited quartz vein we've been drilling for years with hundreds of thousands of meters, but a nice shale horizon. And when that quartz vein passed through that shale across the property, we've drilled it for 6 kilometers, we had 20, 30-meter blowouts of mineralization up to a kilo silver. Really nice as we go underground to get at that ore. Last part, year or so ago, first deep drilling we did, we found a big sulfide zone. That's already 750 meters by 350 meters high, of just absolutely wonderful ore that basically 30, 40 meters wide. It's a new discovery. And what we're seeing with that is, grades up to a kilo. So the stages are really simple. Back to my cartoon. It's going to be get that open pit done and finished. We'll be ready to go on that in June. We're already permitted for the underground. We have an amendment to that permit for the open pit already put in in Mexico to get that approved, and then go underground, get the vein, get the black shale, get the sulfide zone. We already have the mill for that. We've already moved it to Mexico. Step 1, open pit. Step 2, underground. Think about this being first or second inning, this being the other 7. This is a project that will have a mine life, in our opinion, of 10, 20, 30 years as we drill it out, because it's a big, big 30-kilometer long trend. We've only drilled 2 or 3 kilometers of it. Enough about all that. I will show you one thing, though, that's interesting. People like to know that, when we're miners, we've been doing all our exploration from surface. About 2 years ago, we brought in the top contractor for underground mining in Mexico, because we want to start doing all the underground exploration now from underground. So we've really got back in and gone underground very, very heavy in the Tiger. We've drifted in for the first half a kilometer. Why that's important is, basically what that's giving us is the ability to get in and develop underground and do all of our exploration from underground. And that'll be the next step for us. Beautiful big 5 by 5 meter drifts. And as we say, we're right back in the guts of the old mine. And the next, as we continue underground exploration, will be to do it from underground. All right, enough about El Tigre. We're ready to go. We've hired the man that we're building out. We'll make our decision to build our June decision to build in June. We're building out the management team. We've hired one of the best, we think, builders in Mexico, who's really our VP operations in Mexico, Francisco Albalez. Anyone who knows mining in Mexico would know him. We were very, very fortunate that we got him to join us from Argonaut, where for the last 12 years he had built built and ran two very large mines for them. He brings his experience, he brings his team, and very fortunate to have him. So what we have now is, think about it, we have moved this beautiful asset from a large trend. We've explored around that old mine. We've already found, the old timers just scratched the surface, 175 million silver equivalent ounces lying in the sand. We're just going to keep adding to that. We're permitted for the underground, amendment for the open pit required. We've done all the work to get a pre-feasibility by the summer, which we'll build the project on. We'll use that, and then don't even stop. Get that in production, and then underground, and have one of the next world's great silver deposits in production. That's the plan. We've told you what we're going to do. Let's see where we are in September, October, the next time we talk. Let's talk about silver. Look, why am I so excited about what I see there? Why am I so excited that our group, our company, controls this silver district? Let's talk about silver. Timing has to be right. It's been a tough silver market. But I like to start with silver is really a strategic, it's a battery, it's industrial, it's investment, it's everything. I'm going to give you some numbers. Think about this. It's like a Swiss Army knife. Let's call it that. Remember the ones you used to have with all the different blades and scissors and saws? Well, most of us had one of those Swiss Army knives. Well, silver is a Swiss Army of the metals because it's used in so much. Let's talk about that briefly for the next 5 or 10 minutes. I think it's important because I'm so excited to have this project getting close to production, and I think you're going to understand why when I tell you all the things we're going to share. Look, historically, there's 900 million silver ounces produced in the world, historically. 2023, that dropped to 820 million ounces. This year, we expect it's going to be under 800 million silver ounces. It's not a lot. And think about what that's used in, first of all. I want to talk about the Swiss Army knife, and then we're going to come back to these numbers and break them down a little bit more. It's in everything. It's in hybrids. It's in electric cars. It's in solar. It's used in electronics. It's used in tablets, in your smartphone. It's just uses go on and on. The new uses it's going to be used in the new technology called silver sintering. We're going to talk about some of that. It's going to 5G. It's going to have huge usage in that. We're going to see. It's going to be used all this induction. We all have our phones. We just drop them now on the little pad and the induction charging. The uses are exploding. We're going to break each of them down. I think it's important you understand why this metal is going to be maybe, in my opinion, maybe, if not one of the most important battery metals out there. And we'll break it down a bit more. Wow, we're down under 800 this year in production. Here's a magic, and here's what they're projecting. This year, we had a deficit of 150 million silver ounces. Deficit. The demand is there. That's why the price is where it is right now. And we think going higher. 150 million silver equivalent ounce deficit. Silver Institute proposes and that is going to increase in the years to come and maintain itself. the biggest of that 800 that's still being produced, million silver ounces, 151 of them last year were in Mexico. That's why we're in Mexico. That's why we've been silver miners in Mexico for a long time. Go where most of the silver is. Usually works out good. Next, and this is a number that makes me want to get really excited. In 2026, there are going to be 51 silver projects left. In 2027, that's going to be down to 44. And in 2028, it's going to be down to 38. We know why. We as miners every day work to put ourselves out of business. We have a finite resource. Once we get it out of the ground, that mine's done. 38. I'm really excited because if I have my way, if our business model works, and it has so far, El Tigre and Silver Tiger will be 39 on that list. And that's going to be an important place to be. I want to talk to you something else that makes me really think why I think El Tigre, once in production, differentiates itself from many, many producers. We have had an explosion in the last year of the all-in sustaining cost. People have to understand this for silver projects. So say those 51 that are out there we talked about. On average, last year in 2023, the all-in sustaining cost, which is the cost that you pay to produce it and to keep your exploration, to sustain the project throughout the life of mine, went up by 57%. That's a fact, to $16.20. Pretty excited that the AISC, all-in sustaining costs for El Tigre, you can go look at in the PA. It'll be more refined in the pre-fees we put out this June, was $11. Now, what do you, the most important part of the AISC, important for buyers of silver projects or silver, is they project that's going to go up 9% per year for the next decade. Do the math. 16, 20, 18, 20, 22, if they're right. What do you think that's going to do to the price? Do you think people are going to be making this for 22 and selling it for 24 or 21? No, we think it's going to, it just makes sense. It will drive the price. We're going to be $11 at El Tigre. Very, very important. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more. One other thing, vault holdings, something people don't pay attention to. You know, a lot of there's a lot of silver kept just in bars and vaults. Since 2021, that has gone from 1.7 billion silver ounces to 1.2. It's being pulled out because of the shortfalls, because it's being needed. So let's keep talking here a little bit more. Where are the uses? Oh, we hear batteries and battery cars. Well, I'm going to give you some facts on exactly how that looks right now. Solar is massive. Solar is massive with respect to silver. 2019, it was a $50 billion industry. By 2026, it's going to be $200 billion. Installations have gone up 380 fold. 380 fold by 2030. It already uses 100 million of those silver ounces already, just getting going today, of the 800 the world produces just for solar. The reason that it's really interesting, and here's what's going to happen next year, it's going to really drive it, technology changes. Right now, most solar panels are what they call PERC, P-E-R-C. Uses a good amount of silver. By 2024, this year, there's going to be a full swap where the new technologies, TOPCon and HJT, are going to flip the switch. I think call it 70% PERC now, and it goes 70% the other way, PERC falling off. Don't quote me on the numbers, but that's about the gist of it. And it's going to happen almost overnight. And these new technologies, why it's important? TOPCon uses 30% more silver than PERC. HJT uses 120% more silver. Very important. Solar is going to be insatiable. We think that basically when you see that take place over the next several years, the demand for silver that's not there is going to skyrocket on solar alone. And what will that do to the price? Well, we all know how the market works. Automobiles. Silver is going to be used, especially in our hybrid and electric cars. That is going to happen. I'm surprised it's happening as fast as it is, sitting here in Halifax, but we see it too, and I don't think there's any putting the brakes on it. It might slow, but it's going to happen. 2000, it was 60 million silver equivalent ounces were used in the production of hybrid of cars. 2022, it was already up to 90 million. Why is that? I'm going to give you a simple little number. A regular car uses 10 to 20 grams of silver. A hybrid uses, I'm just kind of get the numbers here right, 18 to 38 grams. An electric car, 25 to 50 grams. Pretty easy to see what's going to happen when the pendulum swings to hybrids and electrics like we're seeing it. Demand, demand, demand. What else is there? And I've got to go fast because there's some things I want to get out here. Electronics. Look, 33% of that 800 million goes into electronics alone. And I don't need to tell you what it's in. It's because it's so malleable. It's one of the best conductors they have out there. It's ductile. That's why all these small electronics, they call them, the phones, the watches, they want flexible electronics. That's the new buzzword now. And they need to have silver. And we think that that market is going to explode in the next several years. We think annually, they see by 2030, 45 million silver equivalent ounces being used for that now, going to 80. And just you can see how fast that's going to happen. New technologies. People aren't even thinking about these and factoring them in. 5G, it's going to use an amazing amount of silver. Cold silver sintering is the new solder that's in circuit boards. Expect more to be used from that. The Internet of Things, we know how that's going to explode. It's going to require more silver. But lastly, and really importantly, is I think when you see the way that you're going to see induction charging, that's going to be it. Look, I haven't even talked about jewelry. I haven't talked about silverware, ornamental silver. That's a big part of the market that's not going away. We don't pay enough attention to silver as an investment. ETFs, silver-backed crypto. And I don't think we have to go back for anyone who understands silver to see what happened during COVID. When things started to get a little bad, you couldn't buy a silver coin. You couldn't get physical silver. Look, all of this, full circle back to El Tigre, our timing could not be better. The most torque you're going to get in silver investing is going to be when that price goes, when the sentiment comes back, and supply and demand for us are everything. We're very excited that we're very close at El Tigre to becoming a member of that list that by 2028 will be down to 39 silver projects in the world. 38. If we do everything we say we're going to and put us back in production on the timelines we see in front of us, we'll be 39 at an all-in sustaining cost of $11. That's why I'm excited about El Tigre. That's why we think from where we are now, we're going to have an exponential return for our shareholders. And that's basically where we are. I will now, with a couple of minutes left, go and see if there's any questions here. They've got a fancy system for me to look at. Let me see. When can we expect a news release on drill holes? Will they include black shale, sulfide zones, or the mountaintop? Thanks. That's a great question. I was talking to my geologist about that this morning. Look, we have 4 drill rigs turning on the mountain. They turned all fall. They're back turning right after the Christmas break in Mexico. You're going to see a lot of those holes that were done were to move the PEA to the pre-feasibility study. That was very important for us to do. Geotechnical holes for Golder had to be done. More metallurgical holes. I think you're going to, look, the results are going to have some pit and some of the vein in them. Stay tuned for that. We've compiled a good report, and I would expect that in February we're going to give a full report on the drilling for the market. That's the plan right now anyway. Okay, what's the next one? When a shareholder is going to see something positive in value, in your opinion? Well, that's a great question. Look, I'm not going to blame the market for where we are at El Tigre, but I will say the following. The sentiment in the junior space, we all know where it is. You just have to go look at all of the companies across the space. What I do say why the value is there, you have to be patient, just like I am. I don't like my share price right now, but I'm not raising money. I'm not selling the company. So I have a treasury full of money to do and create the value that will be realized. If you look at most of the companies that if we get in production, so do this math, there's value. PEA, pre-fees, PEA on the underground, make a build decision, build this. When we do, companies that when we get in production are the same size as us are now making metal and trading all of them over $1 billion market cap. That's how we get there. That's how I create shareholder value. We just need to be patient. I know it's not easy. It's not easy for me either. I'm one of the biggest, if not the biggest shareholder in the company. So yes, we'll get there. We're getting closer. How much of the 15, what's the next question? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read them down here and see if I can slide some of these up. Given Francisco's experience in Mexico and building the mine, when can we expect to hear from him and his views on El Tigre? Oh my goodness, he's been on some calls. We had him on with some of our institutional investors yesterday. We did actually have him do at Christmas with me and the rest of the technical team a big BMO recording for their clients. And there was a glitch in their recording system, true story, and that one didn't get processed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that for everybody. I welcome him talking. He was on yesterday with all of our top institutions, and I can tell you, very happy with how he told them he was going to move this forward, how he told them he was going to build it. And I will get that for the retail investors. You leave that with me in the next week or so. I'll get him on some sort of an interview, and so you guys can have access to that. So check the website for that in a couple of weeks. I think that would be very positive. That's a very good idea. Will other metals in the deposit complicate the recovery of silver? Important question. I don't know if I can continue, if they're going to cut me off here, but I'm over 30 minutes. But look, real nice metallurgy. The pit is mainly gold. The recoveries in there are 80% silver equivalent recoveries because gold recovers so much better in a pit than silver. Those are as good as we've seen, as good as our team has ever seen recovery for an open pit. Underground, look, we have shale, we have sulfide, and we have vein. Go look in August. We put out, it'll be flotation underground. That's the process it will be. In August of last year, we put out the preliminary metallurgy on the shale and on the sulfide zone. And both of them, I think, were over 99% with flotation. So far, really looks good on the metallurgy. And remember, the old timers in a flotation mill took 100 million silver equivalent ounces out of this in about 20 years from 1910 to 1930. We have all those records to rely on. We think we're going to be good on the metallurgy. I think there's so many questions here. I'm not going to get to them all. I'm well over. So I think with that, they're telling me I need to sign off. But thank you for taking the time, everyone, to hear about this, about El Tigre. But, why we're silver miners and why we've done this for so long is there's always a requirement for silver. Never in our careers have we ever been as excited to be putting a mine in production as we are with what I talked about today for the market. So thank you very much. And please go to the website, go to the verified presentation. We'll keep updating everybody with, it's almost weekly. I do an interview or an update, and you can follow right along with us as we proceed to